Hey guys, what's up? It's Philip here. This is going to be my interview with No Capitals, No Spaces. I'm just gonna do a little intro right here and let you guys know what's going on. These young whippersnappers are in a band out of Reno, Nevada, and their album Nearsighted, Inconsiderate, Disastrous is out on Bandcamp, iTunes, every platform known to man apparently right now. And I'm gonna start this off with their song Denial Spelt Wrong, which I really dig that track. That's a good one. I hope you guys enjoy. This is a fun interview to do. Yeah. Cheers. We're back at it again with a special episode of the Talk It To Me podcast. As always, it's Philip here, and today I am joined by No Capitals, No Spaces out of Reno, Nevada.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, God. Yep.
Introduce yourselves real quick while I drink my whiskey and Pepsi Max and bourbon.
I'm Draven. I play drums.
I'm Zach. I do guitar and bass.
And I'm Marya, and I do guitar and vocals and violin. Yep.
Awesome. I just re-listened for like the fourth time to I cannot remember your album name, Professional
Same.
here.
It's probably something with a bunch of words on it.
Yeah,
Inconsiderate, disastrous, something.
mostly no capitals and no spaces involved with it, you know.
Yeah, that's the main focus.
The lack of capitals and spaces. It's
But the punctuation.
Disastrous. Whoa.
That's the end, I'm pretty sure.
The album.
I'll look it up. Yep, the album thing.
You can't remember it.
Yeah, I made it up like last minute. I'm gonna look it up right quick.
I honestly forgot there was even a name for it.
Wow.
Nearsighted, inconsiderate, disastrous.
And here I was going to give you all credit for having a deep band name and a deep EP name.
Oh, boo.
Y'all are just kind of coming up with this like off the top of your heads, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Yeah.
No, but I really dug the EP. I got like some early access to the stuff like before anybody, and that's because Marya, I did that right?
That's how you pronounce it, yeah.
Marya
Yes.
and I go back a bit from like being in Facebook groups and yeah, mostly about non-denominational emo and US emo. And were you ever in Twinkle Daddies? I think.
Yes, I was in Twinkle Daddies.
Okay. I was wondering because I didn't remember. Like,
Yep.
Twinkle Daddies is where I came from to get non-denominational. There's an entire podcast about this.
Yep, there is.
Where we go back on this for like hours. I think it's like episode 7 of the podcast.
Wow.
We're on this will be episode 22. So that
Good.
was forever ago. Yeah, but
Wow.
if you guys want to hear that, I'm sure it'll be like in the side link thing for everybody out there. If not, like just go look it up. Yeah. So one of the biggest influences I kind of got off the album, which I found out I was sorely mistaken about, was like I thought it like sounded a hell of a lot like, and this isn't in a bad way. This is in a very good way. But every time I die, like I got a huge ETID vibe off
That's
it.
all just Draven. Draven's the only person that listens to that band.
Oh,
Their only fan.
but
fun.
I really I dig the sound on this album because it's I don't know how to describe it. It's very like hardcore oriented. It's got that vibe of the modern hardcore stuff where you just want to punch somebody in your face, in the face, and get into a fight. But it's got a lot of soul to it, and it sounds very good. Like I gotta say, like I really dig this. Like this stuff's my jam.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
So
Wholesome times.
Yeah, I think that's really just like all of us, just like mostly me and Marya coming together with like stuff that we just like playing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Because Zach sort of came in on this late. Like me and Draven have been working on No Caps No Spaces for like a few months, and we wrote all those songs together pretty much, and then we sort of just tossed Zach on there as an added little bit of salt.
the cherry on top.
Yeah.
I would like to think that I added some
Yeah.
pretty nice additions
Yeah.
to some of those songs.
You hella did. You changed a lot of my ideas of how those songs go, and you're a genius. Good job.
yeah,
Zach.
I honestly, even though I cannot remember the name of the album because the fact that you guys can't even remember the name of your own album right now, I dug it. Like when I first heard some of the tracks off there, like I was immediately like, this is my jam. Like this is the kind of stuff I love. This is the stuff I grew up listening to. This is the stuff where I'd go into shady concerts in small towns, and be afraid I was gonna get stabbed outside. I'm like, and I love that kind of music. It comes off with that vibe, and I love it, and it's the most Reno sounding thing I think I've heard in a lot of years.
Go team. We did it.
Yeah.
Like, if there is a revival in the Reno hardcore scene, I am going to attribute it to you all right now. Like,
Wow.
Man, that's insane.
like I grew up listening to bands like Barcadia and Make It Rain and stuff. Like those guys that like formed like the original like straight edge hardcore sound, that kind of evolved out of the metalcore scene, in the early aughts. Can we say early aughts now? Is that allowed? Early late aughts, around then. And even in the 2010s and stuff, like those bands were just killing it, and this record has that vibe. Like I love it.
Go team. So proud.
Me too.
I never really thought that these songs would even like get as big as they kind of have.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
same.
wild.
Yeah.
I even know. Like I became really good friends with a band called Foxtails, which is like my favorite screamo band ever. And like I've been talking to them a lot, and then I sent this to them, and they were like, specifically Megan said, if this doesn't blow up, then I'm gonna sue the screamo community. And I was like, oof, wow, that's like my hero saying that. And it was wild.
Like I there is so much potential for these tracks. Like even some of them making like a full length release, and I really hope this project continues because I liked Empty Beds. I love No Capitals, No Spaces.
Go team. That's good.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's a real good time.
Yeah, Empty Beds was fine, I guess.
They're okay.
They're mediocre.
But so speaking of the Reno scene, y'all are tied to that quite a bit. Like obviously making music in Reno, that's a no-brainer, but more so than anything because I know for a fact, Marya, that you went to a lot of Holland Project shows and a lot of house shows and stuff in the area, and I don't know that much about Zach and Draven, but that stuff is such a cool scene to be a part of. Like, I'm starting to get too old for it, and it's like, like now I'm like a passive observer. Like I'll hear a cool show's coming to town. I'm just like, but yeah, what kind of influence has really like been given to you guys by the Reno scene and the creative youth music movement, I guess you could call it, to put it in like the cheesiest worst way possible?
Same. You go, Drew.
I don't know. I would just say that like I guess when I was young and I first started going to shows in Reno, it was just crazy to me that like there even were bands doing things in Reno because I don't know. Maybe I got into it kind of late, but like I think I went to my first show at Ryland when I was like 14, and like it was just so crazy to me that there was like hardcore bands or like at the time it was mostly metalcore bands, honestly.
Same.
But like even then it was just crazy to me that there were bands that sounded just as good, if not better, than the bands that everyone was listening to, doing the same shit in a basement in my town, like, and people were like going crazy to it and stuff. Yeah, it was obviously like everyone wants to start a band in high school and stuff and go through their phases and all that, but I guess as my taste in music grew, I started going to shows more, and it sort of just kind of went hand in hand with like the development of my musical personality, I guess. Like, especially at Ryland. Ryland was like a really big deal for me, so it's kind of a bummer that it's not such a big thing anymore. But
yeah, I feel that. How about you, Zach?
Well, mine is not too impressive, but so I wasn't like super big into music until I was in like 8th grade, to be honest. And then I had a friend who played guitar. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that. So I picked up a guitar and I started practicing like a lot. If I could, I would practice like 8 to 12 hours a day. And it was not really good for me, but I did it anyways. And then like 2 years later, we all had a band. It was called Smoke-Filled Skies, and that's kind of like when I got into everything. Like I didn't go to local shows until I started playing them. And
so you're literally the worst kind of person.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah, I'm terrible. But yeah, so that happened, and we played shows a lot, and in turn I started like going to more shows and like seeing all the different like local bands and like how they all sounded different was really cool. And I was like, wow, I was blown away, to be honest, because I did not listen to anything but metalcore at that time. So it was like hearing all these like different like hardcore bands, and we had a little bit of deathcore here and there. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
I was
so young.
I think my friendship with Marya is actually part of what like.
Can you face a little bit more towards the mic while you're talking?
Yeah, I think my friendship with Marya is really kind of what showed me that there's like different genres in Reno too. Because I mean, like I would go to Ryland and like I'd see like Drag Me Under and stuff like that, and mostly just like local hardcore bands. And then I think the past few years, maybe like 4 or 5 years, me and Marya our music taste kind of evolved at the same time.
Yeah, it was weird.
And you've sort of introduced me to like a lot of like, I guess, local like screamo, sort of like the more punky DIY side of the local bands here that I didn't really know too much about. And that like, I don't know, it's been really inspiring seeing you kind of like progress in that little field there that I didn't even know about like a couple years ago.
Yeah, a big thing for me in Reno especially is like, so when I first started doing music was pretty similar to how it was for Zach. I am sort of in the sense that I was in a bunch of metalcore bands because that's like what all my friends were into, and
that's all the music there was for a long time. Like that's all there was.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get booked and actually play a show somewhere, you had to be metalcore, or you maybe could be country, like, and get that's even hard. Like you'd only be doing open mic nights at that point.
Yeah, for real. And So I was in that sort of very sadly, like I didn't want to be at all, but it was like the only way I could play music, so I was doing it. And then I got into a pop punk band for a little bit, and that was like interesting. I was trying to make them more emo and screamo based, but that didn't really work, and that band fell apart anyways. But then when it came to the time where we started Empty Beds, I was like, this is like, because that's when emo first started to be like a thing in Reno. Like that's when it was like, this is the emo renaissance, I guess, of Reno, because that's when Skinwalkers came out.
Yeah, Skinwalkers.
And they,
yeah,
so good.
That was a big deal.
And City Wolves and New Bound and a whole bunch of bands that were like, they were doing this really creative emo thing that I just loved so much. And Empty Bed sort of jumped in there. Like all of us made those bands at like the exact same time and all came out with releases at the same time. And it was like, I don't know, it was really interesting to see the breadth of creativity that we all had.
Yeah.
And that was like the biggest inspiration for me, because previous to that, I was making music I didn't even want to make and was just doing it to like help my friends pretty much. And then Empty Beds happened and I was like, this is what I want to do. This is the thing I want to make. And then everyone was sort of doing that.
Yeah.
And it like got pretty popular in everywhere. And I loved, that was such a big time for me. And then ever since then, I've been like, I'm going to make what I want to make and people are going to hear it. Like they don't have a choice. Like I'm like I'm on enough shows and I'm friends with enough people that they're just like, which project you want to put on this show? And I'm like, this one.
See, being in the Reno scene and being involved with it, like there was this big changeover that happened because are you all familiar with Surf Curse? I'm assuming you're at least passingly familiar with Surf Curse. Like back in 2012, they got signed to like an indie label, and that was the first time where like something came out of Reno that wasn't, you know, this cookie cutter like metalcore thing. Like it was the surf rock group that like started blowing up, and they were, you know, touring nationally, and it was huge. And that's kind of when the Holland scene like started. Like that's really at that moment, like 2012, 2013, that's when like all of that became kosher. Like that was like a solidifying moment, like where, you know, everything didn't have to be that style of music, and it stayed that way for a long time, where there were still, you know, it was hard to get a show if you weren't a metalcore actor. You know, you didn't like just want to do open mic nights or terrible gigs where you'd have to pay to be on stage. Like
that was a big thing at that time. It really was. Fucking.
Like I remember there was a band I was a stagehand for, and you know I helped them a lot, and they were thrilled at the fact that they were getting booked shows where, you know, they didn't get a cut of the door, they didn't get a cut of the drinks, they just managed to get to play and not have to pay anything. But and it's just one of those things to where that's, you know, that's how the scene was back then, and now I'm so glad to see that it's grown and there's amazing artists like No Capitals, No Spaces, and it's just great. I love it.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. I'm really glad we get to like do as much as we get to do, and I just really want to grow it, because No Caps is like the thing that I want to do. Like this is what I wished Empty Beds was from the beginning. Like I wanted to make the most aggressive sad music I could, and and it's getting there. I'm really happy with how far it's gotten, and I really love the people I'm doing it with so much. These are my favorite goddamn people, okay? And yeah, this project and Skipper the Eye Child are the only two bands I ever need to do for the rest of my life, and everything's fine.
Yeah, I so dig the music you are putting out right now, all of you. Like I just want to, you know, I want to emphasize that, you know, as much as I possibly can, that this is something big. And when I heard it from listening to Empty Beds, like I like the Empty Beds music. Like I think I paid $1 for an Empty Beds thing on Bandcamp at some point. But this is something other than that, and it's just great, you know. I want to build your all's ego up a little bit, you know.
That's all I'm getting out of this. It's just like, oh my god.
We're all looking at, yeah, for me, it's like, wow, I'm actually good at music.
You're probably the best musician among us, though.
Dude, yeah.
Like,
No.
as far as like playing your instruments goes.
Yeah. Like, you practiced for 8 to 12 hours, like, stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I would improvise jam with Lee Aiden for, like, 6 hours every, like, few days. But we never, like, well, I specifically wouldn't, like, learn things too often. I only learn things when I need to learn them. But I also, like, I listen to music, and since I don't know, I'm good at listening to music, so I know what they're playing. And when I learn, like, when I hear it, I've learned it. So, like, that's how it goes. Well, for drums specifically. With guitar, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. With me, like, practicing all that time was just because I wanted to be really clean and really precise and just, like, you know,
Yeah.
I wanted to be good at it.
Yeah.
And I think I do a good job. Maybe.
You're so good!
It's fantastic, and the way the EP came together is just great, and everybody should check it out. I'm going to have a link to the Bandcamp at the end of this, and at the end of every podcast we do from now until something else is released, because of the fact that I want to promote you all so much. It's been a blessing working with Marya for 20, I think, like, since episode 2, I've been using an Empty Beds track on the thing. So this is just one of those things where, you know, I love supporting local music, and I love the music y'all are making. So
I wish I had more to say other than just thank you.
Yeah, same. Oh, gosh.
but to get off track of the subject, it's been, the interview part of this has been cool, but have y'all ever done DMT before?
No, I have not. No.
You did it! You fucking did it!
I did the Joe Rogan meme. Okay. Now that that's over, so, like, I really like conspiracy theories, like music conspiracy theories. So, like, I'm gonna shoot one out there, okay, and maybe we'll rapid fire this depending on how much conversation we get. Elliott Smith, did he kill himself, or was he killed by his girlfriend?
I think every single musician was killed by their girlfriend.
Wow. That's a hard one. Wow. That's wild. Oof. Wow. Why do you think that, Draven?
I just, like, I don't really think that. That's not.
Wow, you just fucking lied.
I honestly don't know enough about the Elliott Smith case to, like.
Okay, supposedly he stabbed himself in the chest 3 times.
Okay,
So
that
it was like,
doesn't happen.
it was like
Yeah,
some Sid Vicious shit.
Yeah, that's a little too wild. I would say definitely it was not a suicide.
See, like, with that information there, like...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who Elliott Smith is.
You don't know who Elliott Smith is?
Who is that?
Like a.
Like, he was signed to Kill All Rock Stars back in, like, 93 to, like, 2000. He recorded a bunch of, like, really cool, like, New York indie stuff, and it was like, I'm in love with the world through the eyes of a girl who's still around the morning after. Like, really sad bastard music, but, like, really good.
Oh, okay. Rip.
I like a lot of Elliott Smith. I just didn't. I don't really know. I know he was dead. I didn't know too much about his suicide though. So I mean, I don't think people really stabbed themselves in the chest 3 times though.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, if I were to stab myself in the chest, I would just try to go straight clean into the heart, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit there and.
Oh, fuck.
I thought I did.
The chest is probably one of the hardest spots to like
You
get
can't.
through. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be able to do it yourself.
You got like a whole rib cage and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a whole ass rib cage in there. Ain't that wild? Yeah, I'm gonna go with more than likely he did not do it. And I don't know if it's his girlfriend. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I didn't know he existed. But I'm gonna say, probably. Well, what year was this they died?
2004.
Yeah.
If it happened before the Kurt and Courtney documentary, where they interviewed the guy that said he was paid to kill Kurt, I'm gonna say it's that guy.
Oh shit!
Yep.
Damn, two big famous musician deaths in his hands.
Yeah, I don't even think Courtney paid him to do it. I just think he wishes Courtney did, and he was gonna do it, and then yeah. But yeah, so if it happened then, that would make sense because he was killed after, like, the guy that was like, I was paid by Courtney to kill Kerr or whatever. He was killed a few days after his interview. He got ran over by a train. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's fucking true.
Oh shit!
They dead ass, like, in the middle of the documentary, they're interviewing him, and he's like, yeah, I did that. And then it's like a few days after that interview, and it's like showing a fucking, like, they videotaped the railroad tracks that it was at, and he was like, he was killed by an oncoming train. And it's like, fucking what?
What a fucking random way to die.
Yeah, random, isn't it?
It's very random.
Yep.
Just as random as in House of Cards when what's her face got pushed in a train by Kevin Spacey.
Ooh, Kevin Spacey.
Ooh, it was Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey killed
Kevin
her.
Spacey did it. Frank Underwood.
Fucking Kevin Spacey is gonna be my go-to for who killed any person.
That's right. He just couldn't get the Star Trek guy. He tried and he couldn't get him, and then it caused a whole bunch of problems.
Same. I'm gonna write that down now. Kevin Spacey killed everyone ever. It's gonna be a song now.
Beautiful.
Oh.
His death itself.
So, like, are you guys familiar with the 27 Club?
Yeah.
This is another thing. Yes. Okay.
My original band when I was 15 was called 12 Years Left because I wanted to die when I was 27.
Literally me! Wow. 27 is the goal.
Like, that stuff, I think about that all the time. Like, all the time, the 27 Club, like, I think about it, like, it's just, like, Kurt Cobain,
Dennis Chapman.
yeah, oh my god, there's so many people, though, that, like,
Jim Morrison.
Amy Winehouse,
Steve Winehouse, yeah.
oh my god, like,
Yeah.
oh, it's crazy. Like, I think Selena is part of that, I might be wrong, Selena might have been younger than 27 when she died, but still, like, it's trippy that, like, all these musicians, like, died when they were, like, 27, like, 27's dangerous.
Wasn't it like a big thing about most of them being left-handed too, or something?
Yeah,
like
they're
that?
all left-handed. They all smoke.
Wasn't something about like a lighter as well.
Well,
Yeah,
no, the white lighter thing isn't true. The reason why white lighters are bad luck is because when people would put out their bowls on their pipes, on their marijuana pipes, it would leave a black residue on the bottom of the lighter. So you'd pull it out in front of a cop, and the cop would be like, "Hey, I'm gonna stop you now." So the white lighter thing was attributed like years and years later. Like, I don't even think, like, the one about Jimi Hendrix having a white lighter on him, they didn't even have white Bic lighters back then.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, that's where that comes from, is the fact that the bottom of the lighters, like, would have, you know, the resin or, you know, burn mark on them, and...
That's actually super interesting. I've
Yeah,
never
That's
heard
really
that.
interesting.
That,
Also, Selena is not a part of it. She died when she was 22.
really?
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah, I just looked it up on Wikipedia.
God. Dude, that... I don't know, that's a trip, though, like... The Selena thing, though, because, like... I could go on. I watched an entire, like, documentary on Selena. Like, it was trippy. Like, she befriended this woman that, like, became, like, a manager for her stores and stuff, and, like, she straight up shot her because she was like, "You're embezzling money from you, and I don't want you arrested. I just don't want you in my life." And this like old lady was just like, "Bam!" Like
Wow.
straight up at a hotel room. Like I am obsessed with this.
Does the movie Selena count as documentary?
Yes. I guess.
I mean, I guess.
Like I mean, if you really like, you know, J-Lo, like, you know.
Yeah. Draven really loves J-Lo.
I can't even think of a Jennifer Lopez song. I forgot that Jennifer Lopez made music.
Yeah.
Same.
I haven't even seen her in a movie in a while.
I saw Geely the other day.
Wow.
There you go. That's how you do it.
I want to get a 2-pack of movies that are just Geely and Jersey Girl, and then like run them like back to back for like 24 hours.
Wow. That's very specific. Same.
I think it'd help me write like my next album. Like I really I need some kind of hate in my life, and I think if I did that to myself, I would hate myself.
That's how Zach does it.
Yeah, that's literally exactly how I do it.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I need to watch all the Bennifer movies.
As
Bennifer.
man should say ever. And you said it on record. You're literally wearing it every time I die. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's why I
Wow.
pointed to it.
I didn't even notice. Wow.
Oh, yeah. I just, you know, off the subject of like dead musicians and actors who have dead careers. Batfleck.
Rip.
Like, you know, I know Ben Affleck won like, you know, a couple of Oscars or something, but I mean, you know, fuck that guy, right? No, I just, you know, I've been thinking a lot recently about like the music I would listen to like when I was making music like heavily, and like I'm saying like a lot. The biggest thing for me was I was super into like folk punk like at one point in my life. Like
Yeah.
like I was the folk punk kid. Like, and I know that like I'm a few years older than all of you, I think.
Probably 6 days. 5 days.
I'm only 19.
Oh no, you're a child.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sadly, I guess.
Oh. Ow.
But I am.
But like, what? I know we got into a little bit, but like, what was the music you were listening to? I guess is what I'm asking. When you started writing music, like, what was the like? You know, I heard a lot of metalcore, but was there other stuff like? Because for me, it was like I was listening to a lot of folk punk, and then like a lot of like Ataris and brand new. Like that's what made me want to make music.
Yeah.
Like, is there
You mean like the music for No Caps or just like in general?
just in general, like just from like
Yeah.
Prometheus, like.
I guess outside of the metalcore stuff, like you said, I've always been like super into like skate punk and shit that's on like Tony Hawk games.
Hell
like,
yeah, bitch.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, best soundtrack of all time.
Fuck. So like basically anything that's ever been on a Tony Hawk game is something that I like.
Yeah,
Which
me
is,
too.
it's kind of a bad thing, but also a great thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of underground hip hop, a lot of like skate punk, like really bad skate punk sometimes, like
Same.
like super fucking crazy death metal, which is how I was introduced to that stuff. Like I kind of always listen to all that stuff just because of those games. Like
Yeah, that's very relatable.
I just figured like if it's cool enough to be on this fucking soundtrack, then I should be listening to it. Like
That's so wholesome. Cute little dream.
yes, and then it just happened to work out because I listened to that shit the rest of my life, and I still do sometimes. So.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, for me, when I started just like writing music in general, I was listening to a lot of jazz fusion, math rock, and just like acoustic stuff in general.
Yeah.
And honestly, mostly This Wildlife. Love that band.
Christian rock band.
No, it's not.
They literally sound like Christian rock.
No, they are.
I've heard one song and it's a Christian rock song.
but yeah, and when I actually like started writing music, I did it by myself on acoustic, and I think I wrote some really good songs.
Yeah, you're really good.
They were
I love those
very
songs. They're really pretty.
yeah, they were mostly like math rock and This Wildlife inspired.
Okay. What about you?
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot. Okay, so I've been writing music my entire life. And let's go from the ages. Okay. I guess what made me want to do music as a young person was yeah, I'm gonna go there. My Chemical Romance, like hardcore, and The Used and AFI, and like just things like it just like my whole thing with music, my whole life has been like trying to find this perfect thing that was the perfect culmination of everything that made me that perfectly exemplified what the human condition is and also the technical capability of humanity and stuff like that. So like when I was like in elementary school, I got super into emo stuff and really into punk stuff because that was the most emotionally like outward, I guess. So I was super into those three bands mostly because I thought they were dark and sad and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started to get more into normal or like more traditional punk stuff, I guess, 90s punk really, with NoFX and fucking Anti-Flag and
Still AFI.
Still AFI, older AFI,
Yeah.
and fucking Lagwagon and Authority Zero, which are still two very important bands to me. And so those were partially came from like Tony Hawk and stuff like that, because that was like the main thing that I played often enough that like I received new music from it like all the time. And I was like, wow, punk is the coolest shit you could possibly do. And then in middle school was when I was introduced to more, I guess, metalcore stuff. Not really. I was actually introduced to more grindcore and grindcore influenced metalcore, I guess. Like Dr. Acula, still a perfect band. I Wrestled a Bear once. Favorite band.
I remember one of the first like bands like that I listened to was the Red Chord. And they have like hella grindcore parts.
The Red Chord are great.
Yeah.
And it's also weird, like, because all the music that I found in like middle school that I loved, that was like early 2000s metalcore stuff, it all comes back to screamo. It's weird as fuck, and it's all oddly relative. And like, and screamo and sass, which are my two favorite genres ever. They're the literal most perfect things. Like, it's my life music entirely. Because sass has all of the weird experimental stuff that I want, while also being heavy as fuck and also just way more creative than normal stuff. And then screamo, also heavy as fuck, a little bit more dynamic and having like quiet parts or like more melodic parts, and then really aggressive parts, and then as emotional as possible. And like the whole concept of screamo and like especially vocally, where it's like it's sad music, but you're hurting yourself to express the sadness, because like I've always had to explain the difference between like screamo and metalcore stuff with like how you do vocals for metalcore and how you do vocals for screamo is completely different.
I always just tell people like these metalcore people, they have a technique. Like they train to do this shit, and screamo is just literally just yelling at the top of your lungs.
Yeah, like every time I tried to get someone new to join Empty Beds to do vocals, I'm like, imagine you're having a fight with the person you love more than anything in the world, and you're losing them, and you just can't stop yourself from screaming.
You know, there was an easier way to get that point across. You could just, you could just go like put on a Law Dispute record.
Yeah, true. It's like you know that sound that a lot of people are talking about when they say, "Hey, I really don't like that guy's voice, but the music is cool." Do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Literally, that was my parents.
Literally
every single time.
Wow. That is so fucking relatable. Holy shit.
Oh, see, that's the thing that I I really think is like wild is the fact that in a few years of separation, like my starting point for like a lot of music was like Green Day, and for like that kind of stuff was like Green Day and Blink 182 and Boxcar Racer, uh, which is weird because like you're Marya, your first instinct was My Chemical Romance. I was thinking Green Day, like because when I was 9, I got a Sony Walkman, Discman, because it was the one that played the CDs, and my brother, who's 14 years older than me, 17 years older than me, like big age gap there. He had a big collection of CDs, so he would let me borrow CDs. So like the things that I would always listen to were like, Dookie. I listened to like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket to the point that it burnt a hole in the CD from my Discman, and
Wild.
like though that's kind of where more my like start with music did, and then because of that, the stuff like My Chemical Romance and Fall Out Boy to me is just like, you know, and as I've gotten older, like I've gotten past that, but I just think it's so interesting, like, a couple of years, like, even with like cultural references and stuff, like people I work with over at my pizza job, like I'll go throw something out there where I'll bring up Ah Real Monsters, and they'll be like, "What's Ah Real Monsters?"
Rip. Wow. That's a bad time.
It is, because I'll be talking about something and I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, that reminds me of the monster that hold his eyeballs up," and it'll be like, "What?" But it's the same thing. It's so weird how the zeitgeist moves forward, no matter what.
Yeah. I do. Green Day was a big part of it in a weirder way. Like American Idiot was one of the first CDs I ever had.
Oh, American Idiot, like, is
Yeah.
fire. Is fire. That album, years later, listen to it without any context, it's fire.
It's still perfect.
Yeah.
Like I love that album a lot. And it especially influenced me a lot with the idea of concept albums, and especially like this is going to be a really big thing with No Caps is music that goes into each other and things that are written as one song. Like that was like the wildest fucking thing to me ever. Like
Jesus Simpson.
Jesus.
Oh, hell yeah. Homecoming.
Yeah,
Oh.
Homecoming. It's such a well-written album. And then also Saint Jimmy, I was like, yeah, this is real punk.
I know, huh?
Yeah, same. And yeah, so good. And I like most of the things Green Day has done. My cousin, who's like a couple years younger than me, like 5 years, Green Day was like his favorite band. And the only CDs he owned were every single Green Day CD and then like a Jim Croce album. Is that his name? Something like that. And I was like, that's weird. But he only listened to Green Day. And that's the only music that we like put on our Xbox and stuff like that for a long ass time.
See, I was so into Green Day, and right when 21st Century Breakdown came out, I was like, I want to like this album. I want to love it. I want to love this album because American Idiot was such a perfect album. And then like I listened to, 21st Century Breakdown. I was like, I love this album, but I really didn't. Like
I wrote a book. Like I made my own story out of 21st Century Breakdown in middle school.
Oh, cringing.
The plots of 1408, 21st Century Breakdown, and The Gunslinger. All into one.
Oh, the cringe is killing me.
Was like a portal where all of these things were happening, and then boss battle. So like, okay, so every chapter was like named after a song in 21st Century Breakdown, and during Christian's Inferno, which is the best song on that album.
It is. It truly is like
It's such a good song.
Oh my god! But like that album could have been so much better though. Like in hindsight, like American Idiot, and then that you're like, oh, this isn't as good.
Sam, during Christian's Inferno though, that chapter, you know the boss battle in Coraline where she's fighting her as a spider? It's the main character from 1408, which I imagine is what's his name, the actor from the movie 1408, and it's him battling a giant spider lady to the song Christian's Inferno by Green Day.
Okay,
Yeah.
if we're sharing cringe, so there was a game called Guild Wars that was out like in 2006, like when I first got into PC gaming, and I might have made videos that were like machinima music videos
Yes.
to to all of American Idiot.
Yes!
Wow.
Beautiful.
And even worse, it wasn't like they were just machinima music videos. Like, I did voice dubbing over the characters with the music in the background, and
Wow.
That's so beautiful.
That's impressive.
Honestly,
That's my favorite.
the best part of my young life was watching Sims 2 music videos for
oh,
romance and shit.
oh my god, the Sims 2 music videos. That was the best thing on YouTube circa like 2008.
Yeah.
Like, Gives You Hell, the Sims 2 music video, is the greatest music video for Gives You Hell. Like, even the
Yes!
extended
so
All American
true!
Rejects version is not as good as the Sims 2 version of that music video.
That is a real fucking fact. Oh man, I hella feel that.
For me, it was always the anime music videos.
Naruto music videos are the real shit. Naruto to Numb by Linkin Park.
Oh my god.
Oh, but yeah, I was part of that really weird subset of people that would do like the music videos with the game that they played. Like that's where I started off making content. Like if you want to look at my creative like genesis, right there, like making music videos to like American Idiot using Guild Wars, like that's it.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's
pretty
absolutely beautiful.
With my cracked version of Fraps, my cracked version of Sony Movie Studio 8,
Yeet.
Vegas 8.
That's great. Wow.
Oh my god.
You want to know what I did that was cringy at that time in my life? I guess
What?
I got into like computer hacking stuff, and you know what I did?
What?
I hacked Club Penguin.
Yeah!
Ah! Oh my
And
god.
You know what? All I did was I just gave myself a lot of gold.
Zach is a confirmed nerdcore rapper.
You're my favorite, Zach.
I had a
You're my
really good
favorite fucking. That's a new song name. Zach at Club Penguin.
Stop.
Oh.
Oh, fucking.
Those were some good times.
Same.
See, it's crazy though, like the amount of like when you're younger, the cringy stuff and like weird stuff you do that's just like you think, "Oh, I'm so cool right now."
True.
I made a Boxy documentary that I never posted to YouTube that I have like
Still have it.
I might still have because I kept a meticulous archive like right here on this hard drive. Like I legitimately might have my Boxy documentary on there. Like
Wow. That's a lot of effort.
I like how the Boxy thing went over two of your heads like entirely.
Goof. Rude.
So like Boxy was like the first like mainstream meme. Like she was this girl that was just like, "Oh hi, I'm Boxy," and she was the queen of 4chan. And like I went as far as to digging into Gaia Online and like legitimately talking to people that talked to Caitlyn, who ended up like years later being Boxy. Like I was so on top of this, I could have broken the Boxy case like years before anybody else online did. I was so close.
I fucking love that so much. That's beautiful.
Like I went on forums like Digital Gangster and stuff way back in the day, like trying to get information and stuff. It was trippy, but like legitimately, I had people that were like on Gaia Online that were like, "You're like a creepy stalker. Leave us alone."
Yeah.
It really be like that sometimes.
I'm just the Michael Moore of memes.
Wow, that's a sad life to live.
But yeah, I did this all. Boxy was a meme in 2009, end of 2009, beginning of 2010. So I would have been 15, 16. when all that was going on?
I was. How old was I?
A
19.
child.
I was young.
12.
You were 12? We're
Yeah.
the same age.
Yeah,
right?
we're the same age.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll trust Draven with all future age questions.
I was all about YouTube memes at that time. It was
I
like dumb shit.
That's
Like,
silly. I like never used YouTube for anything.
really?
Yeah, I
was
used
like-
it to listen to music sometimes.
So like I was a YouTuber back in 2008, like to like so 2008 to 2011 I was a YouTuber, and then like I got into music and then I stopped doing that. But it's so weird because I took such a big break from YouTube. I didn't watch any content on YouTube. It was only music videos. That's all I'd go watch when I was on YouTube. Like I missed the iDubbbz, the Jontrons, the Game Grumps. Like I missed all that stuff. And then like a year or two ago, maybe 3, I got into like watching car videos on YouTube, like, and then I got like wondering like, oh, I wonder what's been going on YouTube, and now I'm like super into like PewDiePie and stuff. Like I am literally a 25-year-old 9-year-old.
Yeah.
I feel like, let's be real though, like the
Bro fist.
guys now are like honestly pretty good.
Oof.
Like he has some good points.
Yeah, he's got a beard now. That's what happens.
You grow a beard and you make good points.
Well, like with PewDiePie, like I came in at PewDiePie's content at just the right time because like his Let's Play stuff, I couldn't stand. Like I just knew the meme about it. Like I knew the South Park about it. I didn't know PewDiePie for the person he was, and then I came in right when he stopped doing like game stuff and was just like reviewing content online, and I was like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. I like that stuff a lot.
My cousins and my sisters, when they were like 9 or whatever, and I was like 16 or whatever, I don't even remember. All they would do on the fucking Chromecast is put on PewDiePie videos really fucking loud, or K-pop videos that they would learn the dances to. And those are the 2 most infuriating things I ever had to deal with in my life.
Oh, like PewDiePie now is so much better. Like I watch the old videos, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like he's just a fake character that like you can't get into. But like Felix now, like, oh, I love that stuff. I every PewDiePie video, every morning I wake up, I go put on my PewDiePie video. I'm I'm there.
Yeah, you put it on, and then a few minutes later, you're like, oh, hold on, PewDiePie, gonna go do my chores real quick. I'm back!
Right in the comments.
Yeah.
Did anyone see the episode of Meme Review where Ben Shapiro hosted Bonus Meme?
That sounds terrible.
It
What?
was amazing.
No, it was epic, thank you.
Meme review.
That was honestly like that was the highlight of my day when that video came out. When Ben Shapiro hosted Bonus Meme, I was like, "This is what I'm living for."
Worst.
Like as a person, like to talk to, Ben Shapiro is like seems like the worst of all those guys. Like all those guys, like
Biggest cuck
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, he really does.
Like, there's certain people where I love that they exist just because of how funny their existence is. And Ben Shapiro, definitely in the top 3. Next in the top 3, I would say, is fucking that guy that fucking. I'm a good.
Jordan Peterson.
No,
Oh.
I'm a cool kind of guy. I'm a nice kind of guy.
Oh.
I get some sugar in me. The guy from $1 Million Extreme.
Oh.
Sam Hyde.
Yeah.
Sam Hyde's existence is the funniest fucking thing ever, just because he's so not funny at all. He's a silly guy. He's
Like
a funny
when
guy.
when it comes to like the alt-right, or not really alt-right, because a lot of these people are center-right, like the person that seems like the worst is like Ben Shapiro, and the best seems like Jordan Peterson. Like when it comes to all these people, like Jordan Peterson is the person where I'm like, I could legitimately go hang out with you and maybe watch Disney movies. It'd be kind of weird because you're like a 60-year-old Canadian guy, but we could go put on some Little Mermaid and talk about the deep philosophical meanings behind this.
I don't even know who that guy is.
You don't know who Jordan Peterson is? Oh, like he's this guy who tries to promote quote unquote traditional values, but he also believes in only eating meat.
Mm.
He's a weirdo. Like he
Always
true.
something, isn't there?
There's always the curveball.
The curveball meat.
But he all.
That's a curveball for you.
A meme.
But no, this guy legitimately only eats meat because he believes it's healthy.
Yikes.
Okay, well, he's not gonna live for a long time.
No Caps is an all vegan band.
Yeah, we're all vegan now.
Yeah, we're like that guy from Scott Pilgrim with the vegan powers.
Yeah, we're like
Yeah.
that. That's how we recorded our album so good.
Yeah.
Is because we're against meat and also cruelty. Today, I purchased a cruelty-free, non-acidic, non-toxic, no GMOs cleaner called Whip It, which I thought was going to be a drug. I know very little about drugs, but when I saw a giant sign that said "Whip It" and they're like, "We're giving out free samples," I was like, "Oh dear."
This is what the Mormons warned me about.
Same as fuck. Holy shit.
Oh.
But it is an amazing cleaner. I'm gonna go out and say it. Our kitchen is so fucking clean right now.
That's because of the meth, not because of the cleaner.
Oh, oof, rip.
Meth is
Say-
vegan, okay?
Yeah, meth is vegan.
I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess.
Oh my god.
Oh. No, it's oh my god, like it'd be miserable to only eat meat, like
It sounds disgusting.
I would feel terrible every
Like
day.
all I can imagine is like, yeah, I eat salad, and he like his lettuce is like chicken. The chicken, that's the tomatoes. And then his croutons are pork.
The croutons are just like bacon.
Ugh,
Oh.
bacon. Ugh, disgusting.
like do you know that there's supposed to be a sizzle pie opening in Reno?
People have told me about this multiple times.
What is that?
Like, allegedly, according to their website. I was in Portland and had sizzle pie and went on their website to find out, because I wanted to be prepared when I went there. And, like, yeah, there's supposed to be one opening in Reno. So, like, I really want to go there when they open.
Yeah, my friend Victoria was telling me about it because they always went to that place when they lived in Portland, and they were like talking it up, and they say it was the best place ever, and I'm like, all right, but like Pizza Plus exists, so
Yeah.
Okay, I went to 2 pizza places while I was in Portland recently. I went to this place called Eat Pizza, and I went to Sizzle Pie, both on Burnside, like maybe a quarter mile away from each other. Sizzle Pie has a very punk aesthetic, and I dig it, but it feels very fake. Like, it feels very, very fake. Like, they have a sign on their tables that say, bust your own plate, please. Like,
oof.
really?
I'm not about that.
Like, I'm okay with the concept of that. I would do that regardless, but, like, having that as a sign you just have at your table is like, really?
So,
And the entire time, they're playing punk music, I guess, but it's all like very hipster punk. It's not like anything that people who actually listen to punk music listen to.
oh,
Like, and maybe a little bit of indie, because I went there 3 times, and like one time they were playing like indie music, and it was like, oh, okay.
okay.
But the place I went to, it's this small independent joint owned by this guy, and he was making pizza. It's called Eat Pizza in Portland. I can't praise this place enough. Like, it was some of the best pizza I ever had. The aesthetic was lo-fi hip-hop music playing in the background, and it was just because he wanted to listen to that while he was working. How badass is that?
That's so
That's sick.
It's not trying to be hard to be punk rock and obnoxiously punk. It's not about selling t-shirts, it's about selling pizza.
Hell yeah.
And that's my problem with sizzle pie. Like, but I'm excited if they open up in Reno. I will eat there. Their pizza was very good, but it was not the best pizza I ever had.
Yeah, yeah. I don't expect a place that's like becoming a chain or is a chain to come here and be like amazing. I don't believe in that. I only believe in small business owners. That's what.
Like the Walton family and their Walton Marts.
Same.
Yes, exactly what I'm talking about.
No, I just, I can't. I don't know. I love chain food. I love chain restaurants. I love Olive Garden.
I I don't expect a lot when I go to these places, and I don't get a lot. So I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
exactly what I expected, and I'm pretty happy with my expectations not being ruined.
Like my favorite restaurants in the entire world are like Buffalo Wild Wings and Olive Garden. That's my idea of a good night out.
Wow. The only place that matters to me is Pizza Plus, where my
Pizza Plus
hopes
is
were
amazing.
dashed, my dreams were crushed.
What?
Fucking okay. When I was 5, the only thing that my family, like me, my mom, and my dad, did as a family was we would go to Pizza Plus every Friday, and we would watch WWE.
Wow.
And one time, can I also preface this by saying The Rock is the best person to ever be born in the entire universe? Okay. So yeah.
Wait. Heel or face Rock?
What?
Heel or face?
What do you mean?
So like the good Rock, the face, the baby face Rock, or the heel Rock, like suck it. Which Rock? Which Rock is truly the best?
They're both the best. I want The Rock to be sweet to me, but the second someone is mean, he does that part that jazz guy did the drum part to,
Yeah.
which is the sickest fucking shit ever.
It is.
So fucking good.
That was really
The Rock is fucking so cool. Okay, but yeah, so yeah, The Rock's the best person in the world, and he's my hero. So I was 5, and I was very impressionable, and I loved The Rock more than anything else in my life at that point. And we were getting pizza. Pizza Plus is my favorite place in the whole world, and it was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. And my dad was like, The Rock's going to get beat up by Hulk Hogan. I'm like, no, he's not. The Rock's the best person in the world. There's nothing bad is ever going to happen to The Rock. The Rock's a genius, and he's strong, and he's going to beat the fuck out of Hulk Hogan. I was hella pissed about this. And then we were watching it, and it was not going well. It was not going well at all. And then Hulk Hogan was like beating the shit out of The Rock, and he was like on the ground bleeding. And then the like referee had to like go and stop Hulk Hogan. He's like, stop, he's gone. And then they like people came out with stretchers, and they got The Rock on the stretchers, and the camera like followed them, taking The Rock on a stretcher to like an ambulance. And I was in hysterics. I was crying so bad, and my dad was just laughing at me. And then they're putting The Rock in the thing, and then like the guys are trying to get in the ambulance, and Hulk Hogan comes up, pulls the guy out of the ambulance thing, starts driving it, and drives it off of a bridge. Wow. It was too much for me. And so yeah, and that's when I decided I hated my dad. Wow. That is literally the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
On this episode of the Childhood Issues podcast.
Oh my god, that's where it all began.
One time I didn't get to go to the skate park with my scooter.
Same.
Fuck.
Rip. Man.
Oh.
I'm sad about that.
Which
We can watch
Pizza
it on
Plus was this?
the one in Sparks.
There's 2 in Sparks.
The one that's not.
I've never been to Pizza Plus. I've only seen their commercials.
You need to go there. They have the best ranch.
Decent.
I'm gonna beat the shit out of Zach.
The best pizza in the world is Pizza Factory. I work at one, so
Pizza Factory is pretty good. It's pretty alright. I would say it's in my top 4.
I've only had Pizza Factory once.
The one in Lemon Valley isn't that good. Is it Lemon Valley?
No. You talking about the one that's like in
The
Red
one
Rock?
in the north. Oh, yeah, it's in Red Rock. It's not that good.
Yeah,
the
no,
one
it's really bad.
that's by my old apartment is really good. We got it like all the fucking time. It was just opened up, and it was great. And they had free ice cream, which is pretty lit.
I like the sriracha wings.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Those are lit.
Same.
Oh my god, like it's weird like working for a pizza place because like it's such an odd job. Like it's an art. Like I'll say that right now. Like when you work at a pizza place, I have from working this job so much more respect for people that work at pizza places because like when a good pizza comes out of the oven and it's perfect, like I'm not even talking about like, where it's awesome. Like I'm talking about like where it comes out perfect. Like photo perfect and that does not in under the perfect circumstances that never, that doesn't happen all the time. But when you get one that's like you want to take a picture of it. You want to put this pizza on the wall of the Louvre. Like there is no feeling more satisfying than like that perfect pizza.
Yeah. I worked
You know
at a
what?
Domino's, and
I know
Okay, wait.
Domino's.
Domino's has never had a perfect pizza come out of any of their ovens.
exactly what I'm fucking
All right.
saying.
So the worst pizza I ever got was from Domino's.
Okay.
Right? And I got a fucking big ass pizza, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted some sausage, some mushrooms, olives on it.
Yeah.
The pizza gets to my house, right? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm about to go ham on this pizza. I open up the pizza, all of the toppings, including the cheese on top of the pizza, was all on one side of the pizza. So the other half of the pizza was nothing but fucking tomato sauce and bread.
I
was like, how does
for
this
ordering
happen?
half pizza, half non-pizza.
I was like,
Why'd you
how did
fucking
this
put
happen?
that on the order?
Yeah,
It looked terrible.
Yeah, that's depressing. Did you call?
Yes, I called them and I made them give me more pizza for free.
Same. Oh yeah. That's the best part about Domino's.
They
You got
also,
a issue, we give you shit for free.
They also gave me one of those like cookie pizza.
Yeah, those things are pretty fine after like 2 bites. Then you want to die.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
you're like, why did I get this whole fucking thing? It was like $6.
Yeah, it's hella expensive.
Like I can't stand like Pizza Hut. Like that's my one where I'm like, oh.
I think Pizza Hut is a better version of Domino's, but it might
Yeah.
only be because I worked at Domino's and I was so fucking done with Domino's.
Well, like with Domino's though, I get it though because their cheese is never like done.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a fact.
it tastes like vegan cheese, but it's not. It tastes like the almond cheese, like the stuff they make out of the or is it cashews, whatever they make it out of. Like it
Cashews.
tastes like that, but
Yeah.
it's not.
They're
It's
not
real
saving-
cheese.
And that's exactly what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah.
Save the animals. Okay, continue.
You know what though? I will say this about Sizzle Pie. I had an all vegan pie, like a slice, and it was good.
Yeah, vegan food is amazing. I have not had any vegan food that I hated necessarily. I hate tofu from any place unless I'm cooking it. Like I've not liked tofu from anywhere else.
My big thing with like, because I experimented with eating vegan and stuff. My biggest thing about it is the fact that like I can't have so much stuff because I am deadly like will die if I eat walnuts. So like that takes out like one of the super proteins you can have like, and
Yeah.
at that point like there's no point in eating vegan because of the fact that it's bad and I can't be pescatarian because of the fact that I'm allergic to shellfish. So I'm screwed.
Continue.
What does that mean?
The shrimp.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You mean scrimp?
Rip. That's you, bitch.
Fuck. You got me there.
Oh. Well, Marya, like I know this is gonna be the only one that's like gonna like hit you probably. I don't know how movie inclined your bandmates are, but Legendary is doing a remake of The Toxic Avenger.
No,
We will watch it after this because Jackson has them
A
all.
lot of people I know have talked about it a lot, but I have never once laid eyes on it.
Yeah,
Like-
I watched it when I was like 10. My uncle was like, "You ready to see the best movie of your life?" And then he put on that movie, and I was like, "This is actually like, wow." Yeah, it's a movie.
It's like the intro to exploitation movies. Like if you want to get to the point where you're like, "Oh, I'm really into exploitation movies," The Toxic Avenger is where that happens. Like
And to be friends with me and Jackson, you have to get into exploitation movies. Like it's a thing that has to happen. Exploitation movies are hella good, and they're very fun and artsy sometimes. And
especially Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust was so much more artsy than I expected. Like, I've heard about it my whole life. I'm like, I'm never going to watch that movie because that's what all these edgy people who think they're cool as fuck because they've seen Cannibal Holocaust watch. Like, it automatically makes people pretentious. And so I was like, I'm going to be more pretentious than them and never watch it. And then we went to recycled records and we were looking at the VHS section, and I was just looking through, and there was a blank VHS, like without its like case or anything, that just said Cannibal Holocaust along the side. I'm like, wait, what? And then and then I pulled it out. I'm like, oh my god, this is real. And then Jackson freaked out, and we bought it, and we went home, and then I got it stuck in our VHS player. But yeah, so we pretty much had a VHS player that could only play.
That is my favorite story. That is why I mentioned that movie, because that is great. The VHS player that only plays Cannibal Holocaust.
And we watched it, and I was like, this movie is fucking good. Like, at the end of it, I was like, what? It was way artsier than I expected. And, oh, man, it's such a smart movie, and it has a purpose. Like, you think this movie is just going to be a gory movie to be gory. But no, that's just the kind of shit that dumbass people like, what's his face? The guy that made Hostel?
Eli Roth.
I hate Eli Roth. Mostly because of how much of a cunt he is. But, like, his movies are fine, I guess. I hated Green Inferno. And, like, if you see Green Inferno, which is pretty much supposed to be, like, his version or, like, his homage to Cannibal Holocaust, and you watch Cannibal Holocaust, you're like, you're just a bullshit artist, Eli Roth. Cannibal Holocaust is a beautiful movie with such, like, it's got so much sass and so much power. And at the end of it, it's like, maybe we're the cannibals. And you're like, whoa, man.
Wow.
Well, okay. The movie I'm about to bring up is widely regarded, even by people like Brad Jones, who is like the biggest, exploitation expert ever. Like, anybody who doesn't watch Cinema Snob, like, needs to watch that anyway. But regardless, I disagree with him on this point about this movie I'm about to bring up. And it's a Serbian film, which Serbian film is like one of the worst movies ever made by standards of like human decency.
Yeah, true facts.
Like, like I pirated the uncut version of that movie.
Oof, that's a bad decision.
Like, oh god, I maybe was just barely 18 at the time, and I watched it. And the first time I watched this movie, I was like, I was shook. I was physically shook by this movie, by a fictional film, like, and I told my friends about it, and they're like, oh, we want to watch it, and I was like, okay, but I'm not watching this movie with you. I will gladly let you guys, burn a copy of this movie, watch it. I don't care. I'm not watching it with you. And they told me they didn't want to be my friends anymore.
Wow.
Damn.
Dude, rest in peace.
Like, we ended up being friends after that, but it was like very much like my friend Sam like was straight up like, why would you bring this movie into my house?
Yeah. Yeah, that is. Yeah, so Jackson is in this like big group, and he's pretty popular in it. It's on Facebook, and they did like a Secret Santa thing, and someone sent him a copy of a Serbian film because they knew that he would be into that. And so him, me, and my friend Tyler watched it. We had such a bad time. Like, that movie made me feel physically sick, and like it made me depressed of the future, like as a person who wanted to have a family.
See, that's the point of that movie.
Yeah,
that is the point of that movie. That's why I defend that movie to the ends of the earth. I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I think it does an amazing job at what it does. Like,
same. Like it's a movie you feel like you don't have a choice. It affects you.
Like Shrek.
Yeah, me too. You too. That's the most closest thing to an exploitation film these two have seen is Shrek.
No, they had to have seen the Ice Age movies. Those are clearly child exploitation.
Yeah, prehistoric exploitation films. That's genius.
No, dude, animated sequel exploitation films. It's a thing. Like, Shrek Forever After.
Yeah.
That is an exploitation movie. Like, once you put your mind around that, it makes a lot of sense.
Fucking right. Same.
But back on the subject of a Serbian film, which is something I never thought I'd say in public.
Relatable.
Like, that movie is an allegory, according to the director, and I fully believe it, because of the feeling you are left with after watching this movie, of what the Serbian government does to its people. And if that is really how they feel, like, it breaks my heart into a million pieces after hearing that explanation of the movie, like, why it has the name it does. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. There's a review on IMDb from this guy. He's like, I have children and a wife, and watching this movie made me feel like sorry for them. Like, it made me feel sick. Like he felt like he couldn't be the same person that he was after watching that movie, and that's like terrifying. It's wild. It'll ruin your life.
I'm so foreign to this entire subject, but now I feel like I need to know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
like I feel like this is like a big deal, like something that I definitely have to see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Like, also,
Okay, I'm going to point out that, like, a Serbian film is not a great movie by any standard, but it is not irreprehensible. My drink hit me, guys. My drink hit me. Somebody who can speak English, say the word for me.
Fuck.
Next.
Irreprehensible. There you
Okay.
go.
There are redeeming qualities to this movie, and it makes you feel something. And if something makes you feel something, it is art. And ultimately, that movie is art. Just the fact that they used an animatronic, like, baby, like they used on, like, Roseanne and stuff, is kind of creepy.
Yeah. We'll. Yeah, the version we have, the DVD version, it doesn't have the full scene from what I'm aware of, and I thank God every goddamn day I didn't have to see that actual scene.
I watched the version with the actual scene with the animatronic, like, baby in it. Like, it's aggressive.
Yeah, no, I do not want to deal with that. I will never watch that. Like, after me and Jackson and Tyler watched that movie and it ended, we were like, I don't know if this is something I ever want to do again. Like, if someone was like, I'm going to put on a Serbian film, I'd be like, I'm going to go.
You know what, though? Like, I've watched it twice, the uncut, like, original version of the movie. And I do say on a second viewing, with context, because you need context behind the movie and why it was made, it's an easier watch, but it still makes you feel.
Yeah. I feel that.
feelings are scary.
Yeah, it gets worse. I will say, though, that on the contrast to a movie making you feel things is art automatically, the movie Mother makes me angrier than anything in this entire world does. And it is not art. It is literally the worst thing I've ever, like, oh my God.
Have you watched Tree of Life?
I have not.
That might be worse.
Oh. Is it the same kind of thing as Mother?
So it's in a very roundabout way, like, kind of a Christian-ish movie, which is what actually so is Mother. So
Yeah, literally Mother.
But, like, Tree of Life has a lot of the same flaws, except it's told with, like, this Forrest Gump, like, sepia filter over it.
What? That sounds disgusting.
The movie makes you physically ill. Like, it's weird. I watched it at a church youth group, and I don't know how our pastor got a copy of this movie, because I swore it was still in theaters, but maybe not. But yeah, it was really weird.
Oof. That sounds terrible. Mother, like, when I saw it, I was, like, angry. Like, there was during, like, when all the chaos is happening, I literally turned to Jackson and I was like, I hate this. And I was angry from like the midpoint, like after the first like testament part of the Bible part happened. I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. And then it started doing the rest and the way it went through time and with all the people and just how messy the movie got. I like nothing has made me angrier than that experience because I was just so offended by the fact that the director, fucking whatever the fuck his name is, he's a big bitch. He like the movie is pretty much like God stuff is happening. It's God stuff. Do you get it? It's a God thing. I'm talking about God. We're breaking a baby's neck. That was Jesus.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I was like offended by how dumb he thinks everyone else is. And that's how he made the movie. Because he wanted to do his little bitchy thing about religion. And then he didn't think other people would get it. So he made it as over, like ham-fisted or whatever as possiul And
Like,
I
is it as ham-fisted as 2009's Antichrist?
okay, but Antichrist is visually entertaining the entire time.
Yes, it is. I will give you that, but it is equally as bad of a story.
I will say yes, and I will say it's incredibly offensive to women. And yeah, wow. I'm just gonna say, why would we think a movie from a Nazi is gonna go well and be nice?
It's hard to think that movie got made.
Yeah.
It's like crazy in the world we live in now that Antichrist would be made. Like,
yeah. And also, fucking, what's his name? My boy Green Goblin. What's his name
Willem
again?
Dafoe. You mean Ryuk?
I love.
That's
Yeah. So Willem Dafoe has the biggest dick, and that's what the first like 10 minutes of that movie gave me as information. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of my boy Dafoe. He's huge. Okay. But also the first 10 minutes of that movie made me depressed like immediately. Like I was like, wow, this is really artsy. Oh no, where is he going? Oh no.
I just want to see the Death Note like movie series Netflix is doing cut to Antichrist.
Oof. Just the part where she's got the rock. Oh. Okay. I'm not gonna talk about that movie anymore.
Like, that movie is more repulsing than a Serbian film to me because there is no reason for the repulsion. Like, there is no reason for the things that happen in that movie to happen.
Yeah, literally. Literally.
Like, it's like the guy who did it was like, hey, Eli Roth, you think you can make torture porn? Hold my beer.
Same. Fuck Eli Roth. Ugh. But yeah, the guy that made that is a major bitch, and he's also a Nazi. Like, literally, have you seen the video of him saying it? I can't even remember his fucking name right now. But he was at the Cannes Festival. He's a very famous director. He makes really pretentious artsy movies. And he was like on a panel or whatever, and people were asking him questions. And out of nowhere, he was like, okay, I don't think the Nazis did it. Hitler did nothing wrong. And you're like, oof. And then now he's banned from Cannes and is no longer allowed to go back.
Like, I think it'd be funny if, like...
He was like, I mean, I'm a Nazi. He deadass just says I'm a Nazi.
Like, I think it'd just be funny if, like, the picture of that guy, it's Lars von Trier, by the way, was just Sam Hyde.
I want a biopic, whatever, of Lars von Trier's life, but Sam Hyde playing him. That's genius. Wow.
Okay, Willem Dafoe, this is the scene where you get anally penetrated.
Sorry.
Is this guy even German? Is he even... Oh, he's Danish. Okay, that's a close enough accent.
Yeah, he's got a very good, a very clear accent. Yeah. He's such a
Like,
bitch.
I was talking at work today about the worst 3 movies I've ever watched back to back. Like, it was Requiem for a Dream, The Machinist, and then Waking Life. Like, all 3 back to back.
Favorite. I love Waking Life. But
Okay, imagine watching all 3 of those movies and then trying to sleep afterwards.
that sounds boring though. Like okay, so one thing, the guy who made Requiem for a Dream made Mother. So if that explains anything for you there. And then what was the
But
second
that
movie?
was a decent movie.
Requiem for a Dream is a fine movie. It's whatever. Jackson always says ass to ass all the fucking time because of that movie. And
But
I think that's funny.
but anyway, the second one was The Machinist. Have you ever seen The Machinist?
I have not seen that.
It has Batman in it, not Ben Affleck, the good one, the good Batman.
Bale?
Yeah, and he
Right.
got down to like 88 pounds for this movie, and he's like anorexic, and he can't sleep, and he works in a machine shop. Like, this is a trippy movie. Like,
Okay.
it's hard to think 2 years after doing that movie, he was like buff Bruce Wayne, like legit.
That's wild.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. He like fucked himself up to do that movie.
That's
Like,
wild.
method acting to an extreme.
That's how I do it. Same. But Waking Life is a hella good movie. On the first run of Empty Bed CDs that I made for Ego Death, I went through the very unnecessary effort of like putting all these extra tracks on the CD that were dead ass, just like samples from Waking Life, Watchmen, It's Such a Beautiful Day, and some other like movie where they say a lot of deep things or whatever. And I went into the movies, found the sections of like 2 minute long dialogue, cut them, and then put them in between Empty Bed songs. And that was like 15 hours of work for really no reason at all.
Like, okay, I have Christian Bale in this movie on my phone. Let's see if it'll pop up. Okay, but that is how skinny he
That's
was.
why.
That is terrifying.
That's like me.
Wow. Draven is actually Christian Bale.
Like, that is terrifying. Like, I recommend for anybody to watch The Machinist. Okay, like that
Okay.
movie right there, all time recommended movies. Oh my god, like. But anyway, I think this has been a fun conversation, and I think this podcast is running like well over to like an hour and 20 minutes now. So I do believe we have to say goodbye for the evening. But do you guys want to leave anybody with anything? Plug, no capitals, no spaces for a second.
Yes, listen to our music, and we love you forever.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
as fuck.
There's gonna be a lot of it, so
Yeah, we're putting out a lot of stuff soon. We're gonna be, hopefully, I want to do some stuff this month. Hopefully, we'll put out another release this month. I want us to work as fast as possible because we write really fast, and I want to do more stuff where it's all of us writing. So because literally Zach has been in the band for like a month, maybe, and we've practiced a couple times, mostly trying to get him used to the songs for shows. But now we have an EP, another EP that's going to be a little bit more normal emo-y stuff, like Twinkly. It's going to be fun. I like that one.
And then that clean song.
Yeah, it's going to be mostly clean-ish songs, like with clean guitar tones. And then we're going to put out, in between these releases, we're doing this like series that we're going to do of covers, because we do 2 songs. Well, we're going to do it now. It's like a thing we're going to do, is every time we cover something, we're going to cover 2 songs from a band and have them go into each other, because that's how we started. So right now, our set is the 5 songs from the new EP, and then we go into Tourette's and Endless Nameless by Nirvana, but we play them way crazier. Tourette's we play like 2 times speed, and Endless Nameless is just, it's really noisy and really fun. I love those songs. So yeah, so we're gonna put out our Nirvana little thing, and then we're gonna put out an emo, like almost a straight emo thing, just more twinkly based, more closer to William Botany type stuff, I guess. And then we're gonna put out a System of a Down 2-song thing. We're still working out what songs we're gonna do. We're probably gonna do Prison Song and something else. And then we're gonna put out our Aerials is a good song, but I don't know. We have to do the
Aerials.
We got to do crazy fucking shit. Deer Dance.
Yeah, Deer Dance is so good. That's the one that I've been saying.
Yeah, I know. Deer Dance is so fucking good. But Needles and fucking.
Let's just do the first 3 songs of Toxicity. Like, boom.
Oh, we'll do Boom from Steal This Album. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We'll do that. And then we've also been working on the album. That's gonna be the album is gonna be so perfect. Like it's literally everything I want to do, and I'm already so excited for it. And Zach's got some sick riffs. I got some sick riffs. Draven's doing the fucking coolest shit ever, and I love his drumming so much. God damn it. Okay, and the album is gonna be like, the intention is to have it as like a full, like the whole album's pretty much gonna be one song and everything goes into each other. It's gonna have some similar conceptual aspects as to like Nonagon Infinity from King Gizzard, like where it's literally all the songs going to each other and the album can go on forever if you just listen to it and repeat. It's gonna be vaguely the same kind of ideas where they'll motif a song in a previous song, so when that song does come on later, it doesn't feel like you ever left the one song that you've been in this entire time. It's like we're gonna play on stuff like that, and it's really fun. It's our craziest stuff. We have a song where it's literally just detuning, because we do one of my favorite things that we're doing is that, so we play in drop D for the most part because that's just the easiest tuning for me to write stuff in. But when we go into our Endless Nameless cover, we drop the D to another A, which is fucking wild. And I loved how that sounded, especially harmonizing with the 2 A's. Like they sound so cool together. And so we're pretty much becoming a gent band, and we're bringing it back. But yeah, we have a song like that's like 3/4 of the way through ish, where it's literally just gonna be me and Zach detuning to have 2 A's, and then it goes into a Doom song, and it's so fucking cool. And yeah, and then the rest of the songs from that point on are with the extra A, and that's just so cool to me. And it's gonna be very apparent how much we like System of a Down on that record. But yeah, that's the plan. Oh, and we're gonna be on a Seisha compilation, which is very exciting, with a bunch of bigger screamo bands, from what I can tell, and I'm so excited. Okay, yeah, that's
So all that stuff is happening.
within the next like 4 to 5 months.
It's gonna be a real good time.
And that'll all be on Bandcamp.
Also just uploaded our EP so that it's going to be streaming soon on everything. If you're in North Korea, we got you. There's a North Korean like streaming website that will have the No Caps No Spaces EP.
Okay, so people can go look up No Capitals No Spaces on all the usual social media except for Twitter.
We have none right now.
Yeah,
I might make.
Yeah.
We don't have any social media.
Really?
Yeah, we've not had to yet.
Yeah, I guess we've not really worried about that yet at this point.
Yeah, we sort of just use our personal pages.
Okay, well there's Bandcamp, I know that.
Yeah, the Bandcamp.
Is it nocapitalsnospaces.bandcamp.com?
Yes.
Okay, nocapitalsnospaces.bandcamp.com, which sounds like that should be a No Capitals No Spaces song, but
Yes, that's genius. Same.
It's been great having y'all on. This is cool. This is officially going to be, this is coming out like 2 weeks from now technically, because this is the last episode of my podcast for the year. So big way to end it. Thanks a lot for being on. And if anybody wants links to the Bandcamp, go check it out at the end of the video. Or if you're listening to this on Google Music, it'll be in the description and the information. Yeah, this has been a fun. This has been a little fun little thing. Thanks a lot for being on with me, Zach, Marya, and Draven.
Thank you.
Go team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right. I don't know why I love Zach first because the August Burns red hat,
Zach is
and the
literally
bling.
yeah. Zach's got the most
He
expensive.
legally owns it.
Yeah, but Zach is like the actual leader to the band, which has been decided by everyone except us. Literally everyone in our friends group is like, whenever we're around, everyone's like, "Congrats, Zach, on the new No Caps album. It's great." And I'm like, "Yep, Zach wrote all of it." Every time.
All right. Well, we'll talk it at you next time in 2019.
Woo!
That's crazy. We're almost in the 20s again, where we can do like cocaine and jazz music.
Acting like we ain't right now.
Anyway, so normally when I do the show, I say, "This is Philip," and then everybody else is like, say their names. So that'd be fun if we continue that. So this is Philip signing out.
Okay, this is also Marya.
And this is Zach.
This is Draven.
And
We're
we'll talk it at you. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No.
We're no capitals, no spaces, okay?
And we'll talk it at you next time. We'll talk it at you next year. Bye-bye.